It is actually rather amusing to see everything that we have been discussing for such a long time, predicting, addressing, and speculating about as well, all of which are actually kind of coming true. And it seems as though we have the plan laid out in front of us right now, more so than at any other time in history. All that remains is for us to wait for them to carry it out. When I refer to them, I am referring to the power brokers and the major players. Also, we are going to be discussing it in the future. Going forward, we are going to deal with it. Having said that, I would want to extend a warm welcome to everyone who has joined the channel. This is Nick, my name. Those of you who are new to the channel, I hope that by the time you reach the conclusion of this video, you will have subscribed to the channel. You guys need to join the free Discord if you are not already a part of it. Joining the free Discord is highly recommended. Additionally, there are more than 6,000 people present in that group. It is the most popular Discord server for crypto-related topics. At this present moment, I am telling you all that I have put everything on it. In the event that you are interested in participating, there will be a link provided for you to click on just below the description. And now that we have that out of the way, let's get started. First things first, let's consider the Bank of Japan as our starting point. So on August 23rd, we received a statement that was breaking news, and the quotation that was given was that Parliament was informed that there will be no change to the fundamental attitude that central banks take on monetary easing. For the most part, what we are witnessing here is the governor of the Bank of Japan. A word of caution: the global markets are unstable. Having said that, I don't believe it is necessary for me to tell you this. There is no reason for anyone to have to tell you this, in my opinion. We are aware that the markets throughout the world are turbulent. Everyone is attempting to ignore it and go on. They are making an effort to disregard it, and the only reason they are doing so is to provide support for what they want to see. To put it another way, we cannot afford to be ignorant of the realities, which is the reality that the macro is currently in effect. It is still horrible, isn't it? The economy is still in a poor state. Even though we are aware of what is actually taking place behind closed doors, they might continue to put up fake numbers all day long. However, this is precisely what they want. Make sure you don't get this confused here. By 818,000 jobs, we have a job growth rate in the United States that is unprecedented. In other words, there are 118,000 jobs, which is almost 1 million jobs. As compared to what was previously reported, the Bureau of Labor Statistics found that the number of jobs created over the period of March 2023 to March 2024 was 818,000 lower. Concerns have been raised over the recent recovery of the labor market as a result of this considerable reduction, which brings the expected rise in employment down from 2.9 million to 2.1 million, to 2.1 million to 2.1 million. On the other hand, there are economists who believe that the revisions might not be as alarming as they appear to be. They attribute the changes to methodological problems in data that has become obsolete. Now, pay special attention to this for a very short period of time. It will only take 16 seconds, and then we will proceed to discuss the significance of this matter. You are aware of the range of the number of employment that would be eliminated as a result of this for a variety of reasons, the birth-death model for enterprises being possibly the most significant. A number that was going to fall somewhere in the range of 350 million to 1 million. It will cost you $818,000. You know, if we truly look at what has been going on, we have been getting lied to once more, and this is exactly what they want. So, gentlemen, you have it again. They are intent on deceiving you. In reality, they want to tell you something that is completely contrary to what is actually taking place. In addition, I began reporting on this matter in the year 2022, if I may be so bold. With regard to the CPI figures, it was more so. I can recall going to the grocery shop after the Consumer Price Index CPI data had been released at a particular percentage or so. This is something that I do remember quite clearly, and I would go to the grocery store to really look at the pricing, check out, and see how much it comes to, and then I would compare that to what the CPI was telling us. On the other hand, it was the exact reverse. However, even if we take into account the cost of utilities, such as gas and electrical, we still have to pay for them. It is abundantly evident that they have been deceiving us. And with regard to the data on employment, I have the impression that it is quite evident that they continue to fabricate these numbers in order to keep the markets inflated because it is election year. The direction in which we are heading right now is likewise a cause for concern over here. Discussing the labor market, unemployment, and just as in 2001 and 2008, it is currently going through a parabolic phase. September was the month that saw the beginning of the past two crashes as well as the flash crash that occurred in 1987. Are we set to experience a time that is comparable to a black swan in this area? Is a catastrophic disaster on the horizon for mankind? To a great extent, it is feasible. There is no doubt that this is something that we must keep an eye out for. On the other hand, I am confident that they will endeavor to maintain this position, perhaps even into the first part of the year 2025. Regarding this matter, we must avoid acting too hastily because we are unable to accurately predict when it will take place. However, we are certain that something is going to break at some point. A significant event is likely to take place in the near future. To what objective, however, are we aiming here? Considering that it is not only a crash, that is the thing that everyone needs to concentrate on. It is imperative that you keep in mind that this crash did not occur by accident. It is something that they have been preparing for quite some time, for a very extended period of time, and you have a query. How come we are set to experience such a catastrophic crash? Why is it that we are on the verge of witnessing the absolute collapse of the banking system? That is the question that you ought to be asking. Additionally, over here, we have the option of pretending that this recurring pattern is nothing more than a coincidence. In the event that you are interested in high-yield index option adjusted spread, you will see that this pattern has been present all the way back to 2019 and will continue into 2020 as well. This brings us to the years about 2022 to 2024. Now, if we go back in time to the year 2020, we already know what transpired. And everything seems to be aligning with 2020 a little bit more than it ever has before, and it's kind of odd to think about it, but everything seems to be aligning with 2020. You know, if we are talking about old coin charts or charts in general, everything is kind of following the 2020 timeline precisely. This is the case regardless of whether we are talking about new coins or old coins. To me, that is completely ridiculous. It is actually rather simple. On the other hand, this is putting us on the path that will eventually lead to one of the most catastrophic collapses in the history of the world. And as I've mentioned numerous times before, you can't help but wonder why everything is happening and what will take place after the event. Having said that, let's go to this post, shall we? Please accept our apologies. This comes from Ripples in Rail in Wales. Fork in the road, the Federal Reserve will convene in August of 2024. At the meeting that took place this year, the topic of reevaluating the efficiency and transmission of monetary policy was discussed. More specifically, the discussion focused on the plumbing of the financial system and the manner in which liquidity provided by central banks is distributed throughout the economy. This is not something that can be made up to create an equal playing field. Indeed, you should look into this. The title of this year's symposium is Reassessing the Effectiveness and Transmission of Monetary Policy. The discussion will, in its own very arcane way, concentrate on the plumbing of the financial system, particularly on how liquidity directed by central banks flows through the economy and impacts factors such as industrial output, inflation, and even consumer behavior. Here we have the title of this year's symposium. At the same time, we have the folks present. It is obvious that this is a meeting of the Federal Reserve. Additionally, there is the President of the European Central Bank. Do you agree that it is extremely interesting? The fact that these things are beginning to match precisely is a very exciting development. As you look at this, you could be thinking to yourself, Nick, I don't understand what you're saying. It is beyond my comprehension. What exactly are you referring to then? In the event that we are dealing with one of the most significant collapses in the history of the world that is taking place around our monetary system and is being orchestrated by the elites and the major actors, what do you believe their ultimate objective is exactly? In order to usher in the new financial system, it is necessary to replace the previous one. Everybody is looking at the financial policies in the United States, and everyone is saying things like, you can't make this stuff up, like they're printing massive amounts of money almost as if they are the ones responsible for this collision. Indeed. That is precisely what they are taking action to do. You do not need to be a rocket scientist to recognize that everything that we have seen surrounding our financial system, whether it is bad or even positive, has been orchestrated. This is something that you can see without having to be a rocket scientist. A manipulation has taken place, on the same level as the data that we receive from the Federal Reserve. All of it is a manipulation.